On January 26, 2021, this Californian soul saw the number 410 from the Blue Book. This message was originally given to Father Stefano Gobbi on September 9, 1989 on the Nativity of the Blessed Virgin Mary. The mark on the forehead and on the hand. Today is the feast of the birth of your Heavenly Mother, my dear beloved ones and children consecrated to my Immaculate Heart. Live it in joy and in peace, in silence and in prayer, in confidence and in filial abandonment. You are the little infants of your infant mother. You are part of my progeny and a strong point of my victorious plan. You form a precious crown of purity, of love and of humility about the cradle in which I am placed. Allow yourselves to be nourished and formed by me. Allow yourselves to be led by me with docility. Allow yourselves to be signed by me with my motherly seal. These are the times when the followers of him who opposes himself to Christ are being signed with his mark on the forehead and on the hand. 1. The mark on the forehead and on the hand is an expression of a total dependency on the part of those who are designated by this sign. The sign indicates him who is an enemy of Christ, that is to say, the sign of the Antichrist. And his mark, which is stamped, signifies the complete belonging of the person thus marked to the army of him who is opposed to Christ and who fights against his divine and royal dominion. The mark is imprinted on the forehand and on the hand. The forehead indicates the intellect, because the mind is the seat of the human reason. The hand expresses human activity, because it is with his hands that man acts and works. Nevertheless, it is the person who is marked with the mark of the Antichrist in his intellect and in his will. He who allows himself to be signed with the mark on his forehead is led to accept the doctrine of the denial of God, of the rejection of his law, and of atheism, which, in these times, is more and more diffused and advertised. And thus he is driven to follow the ideologies in mode today and to make of himself a propagator of all the errors. He who allows himself to be signed with the mark on his hand is obliged to act in an autonomous manner and independently of God, ordering his own activities to the quest of a purely material and terrestrial good. Thus he withdraws his action from the design of the Father, who wants to illumine it and sustain it by his divine providence, from the love of the Son who makes human toil a precious means for one's own redemption and sanctification, from the power of the Spirit who acts everywhere to interiorly renew every creature. He who is signed with the mark on his hand works for himself alone, to accumulate material goods, to make money, his god, and he becomes a victim of materialism. He who is signed with the mark on his hand works solely for the gratification of his own senses, for the quest of well-being and pleasure, for the granting of full satisfaction to all his passions, especially that of impurity, and he becomes a victim of hedonism. He who is signed with the mark on his hand makes of his own self the center of all his actions, looks upon others as objects to be used and to be exploited for his own advantage, and he becomes a victim of unbridled egoism and of lovelessness. If my adversary is signing, with his mark, all his followers, the time has come when I also, your heavenly leader, am signing, with my motherly seal, all those who have consecrated themselves to my Immaculate Heart and have formed part of my army. I am imprinting my seal on your foreheads with the most holy sign of the cross of my Son Jesus. Thus I am opening the human intellect to receive His divine word, to love it, and to live it. I am leading you to entrust yourselves completely to Jesus who has revealed it to you. And I am making of you today courageous witnesses of faith. Against those signed on the forehead with the blasphemous mark, I am opposing my children signed with the cross of Jesus Christ. And then I am directing all your activity to the perfect glorification of the Most Holy Trinity. For this, I am imprinting upon your hands my seal, which is the sign of the Father, of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. With the sign of the Father, your human activity becomes directed towards a perfect cooperation with the plans of His divine providence, which still today arrange all things for your good. With the sign of the Son, all your actions become profoundly inserted into the mystery of His divine redemption. With the sign of the Holy Spirit, everything you do becomes open to His powerful force for sanctification, which breathes everywhere like a powerful fire, to renew from its foundations the whole world. My beloved children, allow yourselves all to be signed on the forehead and on the hand with my motherly seal, on this day when, gathered with love about my cradle, you celebrate the feast of the earthly birth of your heavenly Mother. Footnote 1. While this message powerfully admonishes against being spiritually marked by the spirit of Antichrist, the text of St. John also suggests a literal mark during the reign of the beast. While we cannot know for certain its nature, what is certain, says Church Father Hippolytus, is that, when the Antichrist appears, the Blessed One will show us what we seek to know. On Christ and Antichrist, n. 50. newadvent.org